Has your own mind ever become the very storm you can't find shelter from? The chaos of thoughts, the waves of feeling you can't seem to steady. If you're ready for that to change, then hold on. Because this is not just another talk about philosophy. I'm about to share with you 10 principles from Stoic practice that have completely rewired how I face pressure and have brought a profound, unshakable stillness into my daily existence. Stoicism is a timeless framework shaped by thinkers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. It's not just theory, it's a toolkit of profound insights you can pick up and use right now. But a fair warning, these ideas are not comfortable affirmations. They are daily disciplines, and more than anything, they are the means to reclaim the helm of your own life. Do not click away. The final key we uncover could very well be the breakthrough you've been searching for. First, if this message resonates, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm this content matters. And subscribe to Stoic Mindset Mastery with notifications on so you never miss a step forward. Choose minimalism. In an age of endless noise, more stuff, and infinite distraction, the deliberate choice to live with less is both an act of intelligence and profound bravery. The Stoic masters show us that accumulation is not the path to peace. It is the reduction of desire that leads to true wealth. Why haul around excess baggage, both material and emotional, that you do not need? To simplify is to deliberately create a vacuum for what holds genuine importance. You will find greater clarity and focus by learning to reject the trivial. This can start by physically discarding the superfluous, or by mentally releasing your grip on outcomes you cannot change. Stoicism asks us to audit our lives. What actually deserves your limited attention? So much of our tension is generated by the insignificant. By cutting away the non-essential, you reclaim hours, vitality, and mental bandwidth. Imagine a life not dictated by others' demands, by comparison, or by fleeting cravings. That is the promise of minimalism. Ask yourself, what is non-negotiable for me? Because anything you remove, be it an object, a commitment, or a toxic belief, makes room for a life that is deeper, quieter, and driven by clear intent. Minimalism isn't about having little. It's about possessing exactly what enriches you. Choose your response. The outer world will always have its turbulence, but you hold the only key to the inner gate. The Stoic position is clear. We cannot dictate the events that unfold around us, but our interpretation of them and our subsequent reaction is entirely our domain. To remain anchored when the gales blow is where real fortitude lives. Your strength doesn't come from the weather, it comes from your stance in it. By opting for a centered mind when faced with trials, you not only guard your inner sanctuary, but also keep your judgment sharp, enabling wiser moves. Stoicism cautions us that knee-jerk emotional replies almost always amplify the problem, inside and out. The conscious interval, to halt, to inhale, to assess before you engage, is everything. To be composed is to govern your internal climate. It means looking directly at a challenge and choosing a reasoned, principled action over one born of panic or rage. You reclaim your agency and keep your sight on the meaningful when you stop letting external stimuli set your internal state. Then composure ceases to be mere poise and becomes an active power. Anchor in the now. What's done cannot be undone. What is to come remains a mystery. And yet, how much of our present life is spent reliving old scenes or rehearsing feared futures? The Stoics deliver a fundamental axiom. Our only point of actual contact with reality is this immediate moment. To be chained to the past or to borrow trouble from the future is to rob yourself of the only thing you truly own, the current second. Living in the now is not a fluffy ideal. It is a practical method for liberation. Your consciousness is unshackled from the weight of immutable history and the anxiety of mere potential. When your attention is fully here, regrets lose their sting and tomorrow loses its terror. The only sphere of influence you have is what you do right now. Consider the momentum you could build if you stopped obsessing over irrelevant narratives and invested fully in today's single, actionable step. Each dawn is a fresh canvas to act with purpose and precision. This practice brings not only mental serenity, but also the leverage to make higher quality decisions. Relish the subtle textures of today and lay a firmer foundation for tomorrow through the bricks you lay this very hour. Prioritize deeds over declarations. Stoic wisdom uncovers a potent reality. Your authentic worth is demonstrated by your conduct, not by your commentary. In a landscape where so many seek external nods of approval, what you build will forever eclipse what you claim. There's no need for a pre-launch fanfare for every goal or win. Substantial achievement announces itself through its existence. True confidence and humility mean letting your work stand as your testimony. People who generate real value rarely trumpet their efforts. They operate with quiet dedication, focused on the mission, trusting the impact will be visible. If you adopt this viewpoint, you break free from the exhausting cycle of fishing for validation, because in the final tally, your spoken plans are ghostly next to the solidity of what you've actually done. You broadcast immense self-trust when your actions do the talking. Your audience should be your own standards, not the crowd. And that internal quiet, that ability to lock in on the labor instead of the applause, is precisely what will elevate you. Operate in silence. Hold the vision. Let the results become the conversation. Reframe every setback. The Stoic school teaches us that each obstacle is, in its essence, a disguised opportunity for elevation. We are not required to view hurdles or reverses as blockades. We can choose to see them as rigorous tutors assigned to our growth. The road of life is never without its bumps. What separates us is the posture we adopt when we encounter them. While many retreat at the first sign of resistance, the Stoic adopts the core belief that there is a gem of instruction in every trial. When things go off script, turn inward and ask, "What is this here to reveal to me?" Every misstep contains useful data, and each apparent defeat maps a route toward refinement. Embrace this lens, and frustrations transform into pivot points that accelerate your evolution. Your attitude is the master switch. Be appreciative of each test you face, for it compels novel neural pathways, forging greater durability, adaptability, ingenuity, and in the end, deeper understanding. While a frictionless life sounds appealing, our periods of most intense expansion usually arrive wrapped in difficulty. A barrier on your path is not your enemy. It is your conditioning. Source joy from within. Perhaps the most radical of Stoic lessons is this: fulfillment is contingent on no external factor or person. In a culture that endlessly broadcasts that happiness is found in acquisitions, accolades, and others' admiration, Stoicism proposes a more durable truth. Genuine well-being is generated from the inside out. To seek contentment in people or possessions is to build your house on sand. Objects can break, people can depart, and conditions can shift without notice. If your serenity is lashed to something inconstant, it will always be precarious. The Stoics direct us to cultivate a joy that is impervious to worldly fluctuations. How do we tap that internal reservoir? It begins with rigorous self-inquiry, a daily practice of thankfulness, and the building of emotional sturdiness. To locate peace, turn your gaze from society's scoreboard. Pause and take stock of what you already hold, the person you are becoming, and the sheer gift of conscious existence. This species of happiness cannot be confiscated. You become the author of your own satisfaction, independent of the plot twists outside. Real authority isn't about what's in your portfolio, it's about the lens through which you view your journey. Reject needless conflict. One of the great drains on our spirit is theatrical turmoil, and we often volunteer to step onto stages that serve no purpose. Stoicism instructs us to consciously avoid people and scenarios that poison our inner quiet and to minimize optional chaos. Participating in fruitless debates, spreading or consuming gossip, or taking ownership of other people's burdens doesn't just deplete your energy reserves, it actively steals focus from your true priorities. Learning to discriminate between what legitimately warrants your engagement and what is merely noise is a master skill for the streamlined life. Pose the twin questions. Does this tangibly affect my circle of control? Will involvement here make me a better version of myself? If the answer is no, the most powerful move is often a step back. You are not obliged to arbitrate every dispute or fix every malfunction. You defend your psychological and emotional borders by choosing not to board the drama train. Do not invest your finite vigor in sidelines that aren't yours. Instead, channel it toward what is paramount: your aims, your genuine connections, and your own maturation. This stance helps you sidestep manufactured stress and cultivate a more robust, tranquil life. Remember, turmoil cannot enter unless you grant it a visa. Your internal peace is a greater asset than any external commotion. Own your self-assessment. The judgments of other people are exactly that, their judgments. Too often we permit external appraisals to sway our self-concept, sometimes to the point of forgetting our own essence. According to Stoic thought, authentic liberty is the capacity to remain faithful to your own nature. The comments and conjectures others make about you do not constitute your identity. The perpetual hunt for outside validation makes you a captive to others' measuring sticks. This craving to be liked infects every choice, tugging you away from your foundational principles and objectives. Do not campaign for others' favor. Instead, listen to your own creed, your own targets, and your mental integrity. Adopting this frame demands courage, but the payoff is emancipation. You can achieve harmony with yourself irrespective of the chorus outside. If you are acting in accordance with your own ethical code, pose the question, am I aligned with my own North Star? If yes, proceed, undisturbed by the reviews. Living with integrity and by your own design is the gateway to real freedom. Don't allow external opinions to become roadblocks on your route. In the end, you are the one who inhabits the life shaped by your decisions, so ensure those decisions are authentic to you. Practice deliberate pace. In an economy of instant everything, where speed is often mistaken for value, the capacity for deliberate slowness is a superpower. The Stoics show us that anything of substance in life requires the currency of time and sustained investment. The things that count, enduring missions, soul-level bonds, personal mastery, do not manifest overnight. When we're solving issues or chasing ambitions, the itch for rapid results is natural. We may grow annoyed if progress isn't instantaneous, and that annoyance itself becomes a distraction from the path itself. It's critical to remember that even when the summit is shrouded in mist, each deliberate footfall brings you nearer. Patience is also an expression of self-regard and respect for the journey. Every effort, every stumble, every small victory is part of the narrative. Learn the art of paced progress and savor the unfolding. This lets you appreciate the metamorphosis happening along the way. Hold this truth close in moments of doubt. Quality outcomes cannot be rushed. Do not force your development. Have faith that your consistent effort will compound at the destined moment. Patience will not only guide you to your destinations, but will also fill your experience with substance. Embrace the grind. Life is inherently peppered with tests and trials. To realize any meaningful ambition, you must be willing to pass through demanding phases. We learn from the Stoics that hardship is not a signal of defeat, but a necessary segment of the voyage to any worthy harbor. When the way grows steep, relentless forward motion is your closest companion. You can elect to stand down when things break, or you can elect to stand up. Opting for the latter is what creates the divergence. To persevere is to fix your gaze on the horizon, even when the immediate path is obscured or rugged. Every error and breakdown is an invitation to learn and upgrade. Keep in mind that most grand accomplishments are preceded by a string of unsuccessful attempts. Steadfastness not only gets you to the finish line, but also tempers your spirit, making you more resilient. When difficulties seem ready to swamp you, reconnect with your original why. What was the initial spark? A sense of deeper purpose will fuel your resolve and propel you to continue. So do not let obstacles be your conclusion. Each advance, no matter how microscopic, narrows the gap to your target. Do not quit. With every attempt, your capability expands. If you steadfastly refuse to abandon the endeavor, you will arrive. Let's go deeper. Can you envision commanding your inner dialogue, directing your speech and conduct, stewarding your resources and modulating your reactions, even in the furnace of adversity? You are capable of all this, and the pivotal fact is, you are closer than you think. Today, you'll learn how to wield this ancient operating system to manage your existence, achieve your aims, and step into your highest self. If you've ever sensed that your impulses, your language, or your deeds were steering you, this guide is for you. Before we move, I want you to make a declaration. Type, "I command my inner world starting now," in the comments. Decide in this moment to take the foundational step toward full sovereignty over your cognition, your emotions, and your behavior. Let's proceed. Govern your language. Every sentence you release is like a stone cast into a pond. The ripples extend far beyond the point of impact, for better or worse. As Stoicism underscores, speech carries creative and destructive force. The words you select can bridge divides or erect walls. They are not just sounds. They are emissaries of your core beliefs, your emotional state, and your worldview. Unchecked verbal flow can wreak havoc like a fire left untended. Therefore, you must learn to speak with deliberation and awareness every single time you communicate. Your vocabulary touches lives beyond your immediate vicinity. When you deploy corrosive language, snap judgments, biting criticism, you pollute the emotional atmosphere for everyone nearby. Destructive words carry a hidden tax. They degrade trust, seed discord, and nurture bitterness. In contrast, constructive speech fosters an ecology where rapport can thrive. Articulating empathy, honor, and goodwill is the bedrock of durable bonds. Communicating from a place of logic rather than raw sentiment fortifies your position in any exchange and unlocks new doors of possibility. While your words influence your external world, your private self-talk is equally decisive. The narrative you run inside your head defines your relationship with you. If you allow an internal critic and bleak commentary to dominate, you become your own opposition. Negative internal dialogue erodes self-trust and magnifies hesitation. Affirmative self-talk and encouraging phrases, however, serve as a lantern in dark passages. By telling yourself, "I can navigate this," or "I am evolving through this," you reshape your perception and, consequently, your performance. The Stoics held that you select your viewpoint, and your internal monologue is the filter you install. To deploy this power constructively, you need actionable tactics. Insert a beat before you vocalize. In that pause, weigh whether your impending words will heal or harm. This momentary audit helps you choose language that is more productive, rational, and less charged by transient feeling. Ask, will what I'm about to say add genuine value? If not, often the wisest course is silence. Also master the art of narrative reframing. If your mind whispers, "This is a catastrophe," consciously rephrase it to, "This is a data point for my growth." The terms you pick don't just report on reality, they actively shape the next scene. Think of your words as seeds you are forever planting. If you sow seeds of cynicism and limitation, you will harvest a crop of problems, strife, and dejection. But if you plant seeds of conviction, optimism, and constructive energy, you will reap outcomes of success, tranquility, and fortified alliances. Like a dedicated gardener tends his plot, you must tend your speech, ensuring what you cultivate yields a beneficial harvest. Every verbal choice you make contains the DNA for something vastly larger than the moment. Aim your language. When you speak, don't just vent sensation. Use your words to architect a better reality for yourself and your community. This not only deepens relationships, but also refines your character. To speak with intent is to share your essence judiciously, perpetually seeking equilibrium between expression, feeling, and intellect. Language holds kinetic energy, as potent as thought. You decide whether that force is positive, propulsive, and transformative. Recall, your diction allows you to vote on the kind of world you want to inhabit each time you engage, aloud or internally. Command your emotional climate. Your prevailing emotional state is the filter through which you interpret and interact with the universe. If that filter is smeared with pessimism or distress, everything will seem ominous, arduous, and even antagonistic. When you polish and calibrate it, however, it enables you to see life with lucidity, spot solutions, and capture opportunities as they arise. Stoicism posits that your contentment and mental equilibrium are decided not by external happenings, but by your chosen focus and your chosen response. Taking the helm of your emotional experience not only elevates your own life, but also enriches every interaction you have. A widespread trap is surrendering your mood to outside determinants. Confronting setbacks, criticisms, or losses, many behave as though these events hold a veto over their inner weather. If you let your environment dictate your emotional barometer, you invite internal anarchy. You forfeit command of your feelings, becoming their hostage, oscillating between elation and despair with every shift in circumstance. This reactive mode is draining and severs you from your core, that internal locus of calm the Stoics considered indispensable for a whole and sound life. Acknowledging that you can reprogram your emotional state is the inaugural move toward a remedy. You and only you get to decree your inner condition. This basic recognition is incredibly emancipating. You choose which thoughts and sentiments to host. When you assume responsibility for your mental terrain, you seize control. The Stoics taught that we cannot alter the events themselves, but we can revolutionize our reply. Grasping this, you stop indicting outsiders or situations and start focusing on what you can transform, your point of view. Daily gratitude is a formidable lever for shifting your climate. Taking moments to acknowledge what you already possess redirects your attention from scarcity to abundance. Even in the thick of struggle, there is always a kernel to appreciate. The feel of sunlight, the loyalty of a companion, the simple fact of breath. Gratitude recalibrates your outlook and constructs emotional buoyancy, populating your mind with life-giving thoughts. Another potent routine is consistent physical motion. The Stoics acknowledge the profound link between physique and psyche. A vibrant, active physical vessel supports a lucid, settled mind. Movement releases endorphins, compounds that naturally elevate your mental and emotional setting. Even a brief walk can declutter your thinking, lower stress markers, and restore emotional equilibrium. It's a tangible method to govern your mood and prevent negative spirals from gaining a foothold. By managing your emotions adeptly, you not only upgrade your own existence, but also become a living reference for others. Your energy and demeanor affect everyone you meet. Remaining poised when chaos reigns demonstrates that inner steadiness is attainable even in the crucible. Your fortitude may ignite others to locate their own. You transition from being a contributor to collective anxiety to becoming a calming, elevating, transformative presence. Steering your well-being is a daily covenant. By taking charge of your feelings, practicing thankfulness, and nurturing your body, you erect a resilient platform from which to meet any test. Life will not always be predictable or smooth, but skilled emotional navigation allows you to traverse it with poise and intention. Stoicism asserts that genuine potency springs from ruling your interior universe, not from manipulating the exterior one. This is what makes existence equitable and significant. Direct your cognitive stream. Your thinking faculty is your ultimate instrument. Everything you witness, hear, sense, and live passes first through the gateway of your thoughts. This single apparatus governs your sentiments, your choices, and ultimately, your destiny. Yet we rarely harness this power, frequently permitting our minds to run on default, replaying ineffective or damaging patterns that obscure clarity and peace. Stoicism declares that to live a complete, valuable life, we must first achieve mastery over our cognition, as it is the sole territory we have absolute authority over. A primary malfunction is operating disconnected from our thought life. Our minds often linger on bygone regrets or future apprehensions, missing the alive present. This condition muddies discernment and loads us with unproductive mental chatter. An added complication is that external stimuli can easily hijack our attention. We allow fleeting moods or influences that don't serve our ultimate purpose to take the wheel. To begin steering your mind, cultivate observational distance. Watch your thoughts as if viewing a film. Determine if they are serving your aims or sabotaging them. This act of witnessing, without immediate judgment, bestows power because you stop fusing with every passing notion. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the consciousness that perceives them. This creates a gap, allowing you to interrupt automatic reaction loops and choose with awareness. Another potent method is proactive visualization. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius practiced praemeditatio malorum, premeditating potential difficulties and mentally rehearsing a calm, principled response. This not only prepares you for adversity, but also trains your neural pathways to remain focused and resilient under pressure. Each day, visualize the person you aspire to be, how you wish to show up, and the life you are constructing, thereby programming your mind toward that reality. Meditation is among the supreme techniques for clearing mental static and building psychic muscle. The goal isn't to achieve a blank mind, but to widen the space between a stimulus and your chosen response. Meditation trains the mind not to be jerked around by every impulse, enabling you to act from reason rather than reflex, a skill priceless under stress or in conflict. Concentration is equally vital. Countless forces compete for your mental bandwidth. Hone your ability to discern the signal from the noise. Channel your cognitive resources onto matters that support your objectives and resonate with your values. This demands discipline, but the reward is a less fragmented, more potent mind. The questions you pose to yourself are also critical. Often we ask, why is this happening to me? Which entrenches a victim mindset. Reframe the inquiry to, what is this trying to teach me? Or, how can I use this? This pivot liberates you from negativity and trains your cognition toward solution finding. Finally, behave as if you are already the person you intend to become, even if you don't yet feel ready. The Stoics believed consistent action forges character. If you desire discipline, enact a disciplined choice today. If you desire courage, perform a brave act today. Repeated behaviors wire the brain. Mastering your mind changes everything. By learning to regulate your thoughts, feelings, and actions, you unlock your latent potential, realize your goals, and attain a quality of peace and purpose that nothing external can provide. Your mind ceases to be a liability and becomes your supreme ally, supplying the focus and impetus to tackle any mission. Now you grasp the blueprint for a life of insight, logic, and authentic liberty. Steward your resources. At its essence, currency is a neutral instrument. Its actual value is imparted by how we employ it and the significance we assign. The Stoic lens views money not as a terminal goal, but as a means to live virtuously, free from baseless fears and empowered to enhance both personal and communal welfare. Trouble emerges when we permit finances to dictate our lives, whether through ambiguity, restrictive beliefs, or poor fiscal habits. Managing your economic life demonstrates not merely shrewdness, but also focused intent. One major obstacle is our inherited narratives about wealth. Often subconscious, culturally transmitted ideas hold us back. Beliefs like affluence corrupts or the wealthy are greedy can stall financial advancement. It's crucial to inspect these scripts and interrogate them rationally. Ask, do these beliefs empower or imprison me? Swap them for enabling convictions. Wealth is a tool that enables a better life and amplifies my capacity to contribute. Adopting this refreshed mindset is step one toward fiscal sovereignty. Another common snag is operating without clear financial objectives. Without a target, it's easy to drift into mindless expenditure and vague planning. The Stoics prized clarity in all domains, including economics. Determine what is paramount to you and set congruent targets, building a safety net, investing in knowledge, exploring the world, or launching an enterprise. Once your priorities are clear, draft a plan incorporating budgeting, saving, spending, and asset protection. Every financial choice should advance your mission. Living beneath your means is an act of acumen and self-command. In a world that glorifies overconsumption, opting to spend only on necessities or what adds authentic meaning is a bold, disciplined stance. It's not about deprivation, it's about intentional allocation. Before any purchase, interrogate, do I genuinely require this, or is this a transient itch? This habit boosts savings and slashes debt-induced stress. Continuous education is non-negotiable for mastery, and finance is no exception. Dedicate time to comprehending saving, investing, and risk mitigation. The Stoics sought out mentors for personal evolution. Likewise, seek resources, books, courses, or trusted advisors to guide your fiscal understanding. Each new competency or insight brings you closer to stability, which in turn enables a fuller life. The benefits of financial command extend far beyond balance sheets. Economic security liberates you from needless dread, grants confidence in decision-making, and permits the pursuit of aspirations unimpeded. It also empowers you to assist others, whether supporting family, enriching your community, or backing causes you believe in. According to Stoic thought, the true worth of any resource, including money, lies in its application to build a good life aligned with your virtues. Money is inert. Our use of it determines whether it becomes a force for good or ill. By scrutinizing your beliefs, setting transparent goals, living with purpose, and learning perpetually, you can transform your relationship with capital, using it to construct a life of meaning. Managing your resources transcends mere arithmetic. It's an expression of self-control, wisdom, and alignment with core principles. Ensuring your money serves your vision rather than you serving it is foundational to a poised, assured existence. You think, and your thoughts shape your speech. Your speech colors your emotions. This is the fifth link, the interconnectivity of the four domains: cognition, communication, emotion, and resources, because thoughts, feelings, words, and deeds are woven together. This cascade is inescapable. Negative ideation tends to spawn negative or hurtful language, which amplifies anxiety, dread, or irritation, influencing your decisions, including fiscal ones, as a compromised emotional climate fosters impulsive moves. If your finances are in disarray, they can spawn worry, which begets more negative thought loops, creating a downward spiral. These realms are undeniably linked. Stress corrupts thought formation, warps emotions, and leads to choices that can damage vital life areas like relationships or economic health. The Stoics grasped life's holistic nature. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that commanding our thoughts is the first move toward commanding our lives. Mental mastery is pivotal because a failure here reverberates through speech, emotion, and real-world action, spawning chaos that infects all quarters. A frequent pattern is that imbalance in one area contaminates the others. A lack of mental lucidity manifests in muddled speech, and poor emotional regulation cripples rational choice. For instance, someone wrestling with money worries may feel trapped in a scarcity story, constantly vocalizing limitations, which feeds fear and uncertainty, worsening both their financial and overall state. The remedy demands an integrated strategy. You cannot ignore one domain while polishing another. You must train your mind for clarity, your speech for purpose, your emotions for balance, and your finances for discipline. Stoicism teaches that everything is interwoven. Elevating one part invariably lifts the others. If you begin to observe and adjust your thoughts, they will express themselves in more constructive language, which improves your emotional tenor and leads to superior choices across the board. Dedicate time to each sphere concurrently. Practice observing your thoughts, flag the unhelpful ones, and replace them with supportive ones. Be vigilant with your speech, offering yourself both compassion and fortitude, eschewing fear-based or limiting diction, aiming instead for calm, empowering expression. Nurture your emotions, establishing rituals like meditation or daily reflection to foster inner quiet. Regarding resources, prioritize lucidity and command. Modest actions like following a budget impart order, which then elevates your emotional state. Working on all four fronts simultaneously, you start to witness how effort in one catalyzes progress in others. Organizing your finances, for example, not only improves your emotional climate by reducing a major stressor, but also permits clearer thinking and more effective communication. Confidence begets better decisions, initiating a virtuous cycle of cumulative growth. This process requires time, but with constancy and discipline, you can transfigure every facet of your life. This holistic method yields profound effects. Even minor adjustments send ripples outward. Deciding to govern your thoughts alters your internal dialogue to be more positive and potent, which shifts your emotional weather toward calm and focus. With balanced emotions, you make wiser financial and practical choices without excessive reactivity. Putting your finances in order removes a colossal anxiety source, gifting your mind and heart the space to continue evolving. Seek equilibrium and honor progress. Authentic advancement is a gradual, cumulative process. To engineer meaningful life change, the Stoics knew one must cultivate patience, dedication, and a readiness to continue despite detours. Celebrating victories, however microscopic, is a potent ritual that reinforces positive habits and furnishes the motivation to persist. Recognizing your forward motion creates a positive feedback loop where each step solidifies your commitment to transformation. A predominant pitfall is our tendency to hyper-focus on our flaws. We castigate ourselves for failures, minimize successes, and let shortcomings monopolize our mental real estate. This approach is demoralizing and counterproductive, feeding a negative storyline that undermines self-trust and forward momentum. Imbalance is another frequent trespass. Over-investing in one life arena, career, wellness, relationships, causes neglect of other crucial domains, crafting an instability that eventually demands payment. To address these, begin by noticing and honoring small wins. Marcus Aurelius counseled that even the tiniest forward motions are significant, signaling we are oriented correctly. Celebrate maintaining a positive habit for a day. Pause to acknowledge progress upon reaching a minor milestone, no matter how modest. This isn't about self-flattery, it's about fueling motivation and reminding yourself you are assembling the life you seek. Equilibrium is also paramount. The Stoics warned against extremes. You cannot pursue personal growth in a vacuum, ignoring relational bonds or physical vitality. To sustain harmony across life's spheres, self-awareness and continual recalibration of your priorities are essential. Audit how you distribute time and energy, making tweaks so no vital area is orphaned. This balance provides stability and cultivates joy and peace. Self-awareness is another key instrument for achieving equilibrium and honoring progress. Carve out time to reflect on your deeds, your thinking, and your feelings. Assess whether you are traveling in your chosen direction and hitting targets congruent with your values. If you spot zones needing refinement, adjust without self-flagellation. Self-awareness is about discernment, not condemnation. Weaving these habits into your routine profoundly impacts your trajectory. Celebrating achievements sustains drive, as each minor triumph energizes continued effort. Maintaining balance wards off burnout and enables a richer, more significant existence. Heightened self-awareness sharpens your ability to navigate challenges, keeping you locked on your targets despite headwinds. Progress is rarely a straight line or a smooth ride, but that doesn't diminish its worth. In the end, life is not about flawless execution, but about pledging to perpetual betterment. Recall, every stride, however slight, brings you nearer to the existence you envision. Adopting a Stoic viewpoint supplies clarity and the thrust to build a life of intention, balance, and significance. Cultivate thought awareness. Thoughts are the genesis of all we do. Your thinking patterns sculpt your speech and conduct, and ultimately, they define your identity and your outcomes. However, unexamined thoughts can dominate you. A rogue, unchallenged thought can sabotage your life by spawning worry, panic, or confusion. Conversely, a thought chosen with deliberation, anchored in reason and ethics, can help erect a life of success and meaning. Stoicism champions the practice of awareness, the ability to observe our mental activity with clarity and without instant identification. Many let their minds meander unattended. This lack of cognitive oversight breeds internal disorder and perpetuates damaging loops. Consider how one thought of inadequacy can trigger a chain reaction of emotions and actions that reinforce further inadequacy. Mindfulness helps you detect these loops before they assume control. You cannot stop negative thoughts from arising, but you can recognize them for what they are: mere mental events that hold no power unless you invest them with authority. The inaugural step toward lucid thinking is to notice your thoughts without attaching to them. The Stoics term this examining your impressions. When a thought surfaces, interrogate it. Is this factual? Is it beneficial? Is it grounded in evidence or in assumption? This practice inserts a vital pause between trigger and retort, allowing you to select your response rather than being hijacked. For a thought like, "I'm incapable," don't just accept it. Cross-examine it. What's the basis for this? What counter-evidence exists? Is this narrative truly serving my aims? After spotting a negative thought, challenge it and substitute it with a more empowering, reasonable alternative. This is about adopting a balanced, constructive vantage point, not about deceiving yourself with hollow cheer. Facing a tough task and thinking, "This is impossible," reframe it to, "This is demanding and I possess resources to attempt it." This subtle shift in self-dialogue profoundly impacts your feelings and subsequent moves. The mind is a formidable instrument. You can revolutionize your life by actively directing its content. Daily mindfulness practice strengthens this muscle. Dedicate a few minutes to sit in stillness, observing the stream of thought without getting swept away. Picture thoughts as leaves floating down a river. When your mind drifts to fears or trifles, gently guide it back to the present sensation. This drill not only enhances clarity, but also makes residing in the present, where life actually occurs, more effortless. This habit influences every life domain. With a clear, directed mind, you make more sagacious decisions, handle challenges with grace, and act from principle rather than passion. By disputing negative thoughts and nurturing positive ones, you condition your mind to operate in your favor. Over time, these fresh cognitive pathways become automatic habits, underpinning a superior, more worthwhile life. Stoicism teaches we are not our thoughts. We are the witness of them. This distinction grants immense freedom, for it means we can curate which thoughts to entertain and how to frame our experiences. Thoughts are akin to seeds. The life you grow depends on what you plant. Practicing awareness and intentionally sculpting your thinking constructs a life of virtue, lucidity, and purpose. This is the route to genuine inner emancipation, the power of self-directed speech. Language wields immense influence. What you say to yourself molds your self-image, your behavior, and how the world perceives you. Your thoughts find expression in words, not mere phonemes, but implements for creation or destruction, internally and externally. The Stoics grasped this, urging meticulousness in our dialogue with others and, crucially, with ourselves. Negative self-talk implants seeds of doubt, dread, and unease. Scripts like, "I always fail" or "I'm not enough" are not passing clouds. Your subconscious begins to accept them as gospel. This linguistic pattern directly attacks self-regard, corroding belief in your capacities and trapping you in a cycle of self-diminishment and insecurity. Your mind absorbs everything you utter, and your declarations become subliminal commands shaping your feelings and conduct. Positive self-directed speech is not a trivial exercise. It's a deliberate discipline that can transfigure your reality. Speaking to yourself with assurance and constructive framing substantially alters your mental operating system. Telling yourself, "I am resourceful," or "each day I expand," isn't about ignoring reality. It's about choosing to spotlight capability over constraint. Over time, the vocabulary you employ to describe yourself builds your character, influencing your cognition, your actions, and your results. Your words also affect how you converse externally. How you speak about yourself in public informs both others and your own psyche. If you habitually self-deprecate or voice self-critical remarks, you reinforce that diminished image. Conversely, speaking of yourself with dignity and confidence projects strength and bolsters that positive self-concept internally. The Stoics cautioned us to treat words as extensions of our rational faculty. Positive statements don't imply living in delusion or ignoring growth areas. They mean acknowledging your strengths and concentrating on what you can influence, not ruminating on the unalterable. For instance, after a setback, instead of declaring "I'm a failure," state, "This outcome contains lessons for my development." This linguistic pivot alters not only your feelings, but also your strategy for tackling the next challenge. Your vocabulary can forge resilience, confident, affirmative internal dialogue trains your mind to seek pathways and potentials rather than problems and barriers. This shift in private narrative has a compound effect over weeks and months. Each day, your words condition your neural landscape, making it easier to approach difficulties with a solution-oriented stance. Stoicism teaches that while we can't control what befalls us, we can control our interpretation and reply, and our lexicon plays a starring role. Opting for esteem-building words over degrading ones places you in the director's chair of your self-worth and others' perceptions. This authority doesn't manifest overnight, but with practice and consistency, you can reshape your thinking and speaking to bolster forward motion. Words can either fortify and sustain self-esteem or dismantle it. Every sentence you voice offers a chance to nourish your mind with empowering ideas or to perpetuate limiting tales. By becoming mindful of your language, both private and public, you can transform your self-conception and your approach to living. Speaking with confidence, respect, and positivity is a skill-demanding practice and awareness, and it alters how you view yourself and how the world engages with you. The replacement principle. Your mind resembles a garden. If it's overrun with weeds, staring at the weeds won't clean the plot. You restore it by planting desirable seeds, tending them until they flourish and crowd out the unwanted growth. Similarly, with negative thoughts, opposing them head-on or trying to suppress them often backfires, because what we resist persists. Authentic transformation happens when you consciously choose to replace them with constructive thoughts that nourish your psyche and drive you ahead. Negative ideation will always emerge from past wounds, fears, uncertainties, or simply human wiring. What matters isn't their appearance, but your chosen maneuver. Obsessing over a thought like, "I can't succeed," reinforces it, like watering a thorn bush. However, you are not required to nourish that thought. Instead, you can swap it for a life-affirming counterpart. "I am equipped and I will navigate this challenge." This minor tactical shift is not mere mental gymnastics. It's a powerful mechanism that alters your perspective and your trajectory. Awareness of your thoughts is step one in the replacement sequence. You must first notice what's occupying your mental stage. The Stoics advised inspecting our notions and feelings without fusing with them. You are not the thought. You are the observer. When a negative thought surfaces, don't let it dictate your emotional score. Remind yourself it's simply a mental event, not an objective truth, and you can exchange it for something more useful and aligned. Thought replacement doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending all is perfect. You are not converting "I have a serious problem" into "everything is wonderful," which would be self-deception. Instead, you are selecting a perspective that supports constructive forward motion. Facing a daunting assignment and feeling "this is beyond me," you might shift the thought to "this is complex and I am in the process of acquiring the skills to manage it." This method preserves honesty while injecting agency and hope. The mind is remarkably plastic. Repeating a thought pattern carves a neural trail. By consistently replacing negative thoughts with positive ones, your mind begins to form more supportive patterns on autopilot. It's like strengthening a muscle, deliberate at first, then second nature. This mental conditioning alters not only your feelings, but also your deeds. Believing "I am competent" manifests in assured actions and choices, while telling yourself "I can't" prompts your brain to seek proof for that limitation, shrinking your perceived options. This discipline impacts every life sector. Positive thoughts enhance your wellness and radiate into your relationships, work, and health. Electing to see the constructive element, even amid hardship, builds a resilient mindset that allows you to confront and surmount any test. This outlook also changes the energy you broadcast. people respond differently to someone grounded and optimistic versus someone anxious and pessimistic. Replacing negative thoughts doesn't mean you'll never again encounter difficulty or distressing emotion. When such feelings surface, it's vital to acknowledge and process them. The key is not to become ensnared. Choosing a constructive thought reclaims governance of your mind rather than letting it govern you. The Stoics prized this self-mastery, understanding our thoughts directly script our life experience. This is a daily moment-to-moment drill. For every negative thought, there lies an opportunity to practice replacement. Envision your mind as that garden. Negative thoughts are weeds, positive thoughts are your chosen crops. You can't just yank weeds and expect them gone forever. You must continually sow, feed, and tend the flowers. Over seasons, your thinking becomes clear, robust, and life-giving, and your external reality will mirror the clarity and vitality of your internal cultivation. The art of resource stewardship. In the modern world, mastering the wise management of your financial means is among the most critical skills you can develop. Your economic reality influences not only daily choices, but also long-term wellness and life satisfaction. To assume command of your destiny and evade the chronic stress so many feel from monetary ambiguity, you must comprehend how money functions, how to direct it, and how to make it work for you. The Stoics taught the imperative of self-governance, and adept financial stewardship is a supremely practical expression of that ideal. People commonly struggle due to unfamiliarity with foundational concepts like budgeting, saving, and investing. Many live reactively, spending their entire income without a strategic plan. When surprises hit, they lack a buffer, leading to persistent anxiety that harms not only their bank balance, but also their mental and emotional health. Most of us weren't taught these competencies formally, so we must seek them independently. Yet, not knowing is not a failing. It's an invitation to learn and upgrade. The initial move toward fiscal literacy is grasping the power of a budget. A budget is your financial blueprint, revealing income streams, outflows, and savings capacity. It lets you see where your resources flow and allocate them with intention. Without a plan, it's effortless to fritter funds on items that don't genuinely enhance your existence. Conversely, organizing your economic life can unlock capital for saving, investing, and reaching longer horizon goals. Saving should be proactive, not accidental. Building a contingency fund to cover several months of essential expenses provides mental security and the practical means to handle the unforeseen without sinking into debt. As the Stoics counseled, prepare for uncertainty. A savings reserve is the contemporary application of that wisdom. Saving isn't about forsaking all present joy. It's about prioritizing what matters and postponing instant gratification for more significant future rewards. Investing is another vital pillar of financial knowledge. While saving is essential, saving alone misses the potential for growth through compounding. Investing allows your capital to generate additional capital, whether in equities, property, or a personal venture. Prudent investing demands education. Avoid chasing illusory quick wins. Study risks and returns, and craft a strategy congruent with your objectives and timeline. The Stoic virtues of discipline and temperance are crucial here. Patient, persistent oversight is required. A core tenet in both Stoicism and sound finance is deferred gratification. We are bombarded with messages urging consumption, so the capacity to wait and concentrate on what's substantive is immensely valuable. Every time you elect to save rather than splurge on a non-essential, you exercise self-command. Every time you invest rather than indulge a whim, you are constructing a more secure tomorrow. This discipline not only improves your fiscal position, but also fortifies character, yielding a sense of personal efficacy and accomplishment. Fiscal literacy yields profound dividends. Effective resource management liberates you from economic precarity, letting you focus on your aims, personal evolution, and a healthier lifestyle. By learning to steward money, you also gain the capacity to aid others, whether guiding loved ones or supporting charitable endeavors. The Stoics reminded us our responsibility extends beyond self-betterment to contributing to the common welfare. Financial stability provides the means to fulfill that duty. Learning about money is not merely pragmatic. It's a pathway to reclaim agency and live with deliberate purpose. You can begin applying these principles at any starting point. Each step toward better financial stewardship draws you closer to a life of freedom, security, and accrued meaning over the long arc. Sidestep impulse spending. A leading source of financial strain today is emotional expenditure, making buying decisions driven by transient emotional states like stress, melancholy, or even momentary elation. This type of purchase happens reactively, without forethought, in pursuit of instant emotional relief. However, such spending usually exacerbates the situation, breeding further monetary anxiety. The Stoics stressed self-discipline and considered judgment before action, especially concerning resources, recognizing that appetites should not pilot our lives or our finances. When you spend from emotion, feeling overrides reason, leading to selections misaligned with your deeper goals or values. For example, after a grueling day, you might buy something for a quick lift, new attire, or a lavish dinner. That purchase may deliver fleeting comfort, but adds to debt and long-term fiscal worry. Moreover, the comfort evaporates swiftly, leaving you with the aftermath of an impulsive call. The Stoic method advocates rationality and calm over capitulation to short-term urges. Before any non-essential purchase, insert a pause and probe. Do I authentically need this, or do I merely want it because of my current emotional climate? This simple filter helps separate genuine needs from attempts at mood alteration. Understanding our personal triggers for impulsive buying is key. The Stoics championed self-knowledge without being puppeteered by passions. Recognizing when we are acting on impulse allows us to step back and evaluate whether we are addressing a real requirement or an emotional phantom. Over time, this self-restraint becomes habitual, benefiting not only finances but also decision-making in other realms. In our culture, instant gratification is a subtle foe. Relentless marketing and buy now, pay later schemes encourage spending without weighing long-range consequences. The Stoics, in contrast, advocated delaying pleasure and making choices that support long-term flourishing, even when short-term sacrifice is involved. Enduring goals, once attained, deliver authentic satisfaction, not the hollow quick fixes of impulse buys. We can craft more balanced, intentional lives by prioritizing saving, investing, and future building over transient consumption. Maintaining vivid long-term objectives aids in adhering to this philosophy. Whether aiming for home ownership, a robust emergency fund, or financial autonomy, a clear mental picture of your desired destination makes it easier to align spending choices with those targets. With your aims in sight, each impulsive urge becomes a potential detour. You can choose to channel resources toward what genuinely matters. Creating and adhering to a budget is another essential tactic. This not only maintains fiscal trajectory, but also instills a sense of command. Knowing precisely where your money goes helps identify patterns of emotional spending, enabling you to make corrective adjustments. The Stoics understood that commanding our resources is a significant facet of living well. With a clear budget, you can make informed decisions, stay true to your goals, and avoid thoughtless leakage. When tempted by an impulsive buy, remember you are most in command when you pause, reconnect with your objectives, and choose actions that draw you nearer to the life you authentically desire. Curate your inner circle. The company you keep exerts a massive influence on your decisions, your mindset, and ultimately, your life's trajectory. The Stoics comprehended this deeply, recognizing our lives are molded not solely by our own deeds and thoughts, but also by external inputs, particularly the individuals we permit into our orbit. Associating with positive, driven people who champion your aspirations creates an ecosystem conducive to progress. Conversely, investing substantial time with negative, critical, or energy-draining individuals leads to absorbing their outlook and energy, making sustained forward motion more arduous. Stoicism instructs that we cannot dictate external events, but we can choose our companions, one of our most significant life choices. If you plant seeds of doubt and gloom in your mental soil, they will grow into thickets that choke everything else. If you plant seeds of hope, encouragement, and growth, you will reap fruits that sustain and strengthen you. Likewise, the people you surround yourself with can either cultivate your development beneficially or stunt it, depending on your selection. Spending time with individuals who inspire and energize you, who believe in your potential, not only boosts your morale, but also sharpens your clarity and concentration. These people reflect back the best parts of yourself. Their support and elevated standards help you rise. The Stoics emphasized the value of seeking wise associates. Marcus Aurelius and Seneca frequently discussed how companionship shapes character. Time spent with principled, thoughtful individuals fosters decisions more aligned with ethics and reason. However, not all associations are nourishing. Certain people can negatively impact your energy, even unintentionally. Spending excessive time with chronic complainers, cynics, or those fixated on the negative will likely allow that mindset to seep into your own, as pessimism is contagious. Constant immersion in gloom makes it easy to adopt a bleak outlook. You should be cognizant of such influences and possess the courage to create distance from people who do not support your growth or well-being. This doesn't necessarily mean severing all challenging relationships, but it does require managing them and establishing firm boundaries. The Stoics didn't advocate for isolation, but for wise discernment in deciding which relationships to nurture and which to limit. Sometimes safeguarding your peace and focus necessitates restricting time with individuals who don't contribute to your ascent. Spending time with supportive, like-minded souls makes consistent progress more sustainable. These connections offer ballast during turbulent or uncertain periods. These individuals aren't flawless, but together they cultivate an environment of constructive feedback, authentic support, and a proactive approach to obstacles. This is what the Stoics envisioned as a virtuous community, a group dedicated to pursuing wisdom and the common good, modeling positive conduct, and aiding one another. To implement this, start by auditing your current relational landscape. Honestly assess whether those around you uplift you or pull you down by promoting conformity or negativity. Be intentional about your associations and decide how to handle relationships that are unsupportive of your aims or consistently toxic. This may not always mean termination, but could involve explicit boundaries or reduced exposure. The strategic use of stillness. How can intentional silence function as a formidable instrument within Stoic practice? Stillness is a potent tool for forging stronger minds and character. Often mistaken for weakness or passivity, Stoics view it as a technique for emotional regulation and profound reflection. Practicing silence extends beyond merely not talking. It is a conscious election to pause, to observe, and to contemplate our internal and external landscapes. When agitated or under pressure, people often react swiftly with words or deeds that don't reflect their highest selves, potentially damaging relationships and escalating conflicts. Stillness prevents these errors by allowing us to retreat and reflect before we act, avoiding entanglement in heated, emotional exchanges. It becomes a mechanism to bypass statements we'll later regret. The Stoics knew that harsh words launched in anger often worsen circumstances, but silence can also serve as a sanctuary where we process feelings more effectively. It prevents us from being carried away by intense emotions, permitting clearer observation of our inner state, be it anger, sorrow, joy, or fear, without letting those states dictate our actions. Stoicism centers on preserving inner tranquility, regardless of outer tumult. Stillness assists in achieving this by separating us from the mental hurricane, allowing for quiet consideration and re-equilibration. Stillness also nurtures introspection, furnishing the space to examine our actions, thoughts, and goals. The Stoics deemed self-knowledge paramount for personal development. In silence, we can listen to our own inner dialogue, evaluate our strengths and weaknesses, and consciously select paths for improvement. Stillness connects us with our core, providing vision beyond the cacophony of external distractions. Furthermore, stillness deepens our understanding of others. Listening attentively and quiet enables us to perceive subtleties we might otherwise miss, enriching our comprehension of those around us. In a perpetually noisy world, silence can fortify bonds and mutual understanding. By remaining quiet, we allow others' feelings and thoughts to reach us, enhancing our interactions. Stillness also builds resilience. During adversity, words may be ineffective or even harmful. Sometimes the most potent reply is stillness, resisting the urge to react to surrounding negativity. This silence isn't punitive. It's a choice to prevent destructive emotions from seizing control. The Stoics understood challenges are inevitable, but our distinctive capacity is to meet them with calm, thoughtful composure. Moreover, stillness is powerful for locating internal peace. We inhabit a world of information overload and constant stimulation which can destabilize our minds. By deliberately carving out periods of stillness, we create oases of calm amidst chaos. This quiet not only aids in processing events, but also reconnects us with our authentic selves, away from distractions that hinder self-acceptance. Ultimately, the intentional practice of stillness is a crucial methodology for learning emotional command, deep thinking, and inner serenity. It is not an empty void, but a space rich with potential. Stillness helps us step back from instinctive reactions and concentrate on what truly holds weight. Embracing stillness renders us more contemplative, balanced, and durable, equipping us to handle any trial with calm and clarity. Cultivate consistency and forbearance. Patience and steady effort are cardinal Stoic virtues, teaching us that mastery isn't about instant perfection, but about unwavering progression toward aims without surrender or undue haste. We often succumb to the craving for swift outcomes, whether managing emotions, finances, or communication. The Stoics, however, remind us that proficiency in these domains demands time, practice, and sustained focus. Gaining sovereignty over mind, mood, mouth, and money doesn't occur in a day. It unfolds incrementally, requiring patience and granting the process its necessary duration. We frequently try to overhaul years-old habits overnight, growing frustrated when immediate change isn't visible. In contrast, the Stoics encourage understanding that genuine transformation is cumulative, like a persistent drip that eventually wears through stone. Stoicism teaches we cannot alter events, but can alter our responses. Yet this command isn't seized instantly. It is cultivated daily. Each instance we observe and comprehend our emotions without being hijacked by them. We enhance our capacity to govern our mind. Each time we insert a pause before an automatic negative reaction, we practice self-control and reflection. Patience is indispensable on this pilgrimage. as we cannot expect to remain composed in every scenario abruptly. It develops across time, with each minor triumph over our impulses representing a stride toward a calmer, more grounded psyche. Directing our speech similarly demands effort. Being heedful of our words is critical, as the Stoics recognized language's power for creation and destruction. Merely wishing to control our speech during tension is insufficient. We must forge a habit. Consistency in employing measured, thoughtful language, free from rashness, is a skill honed through daily application. Each time we choose not to voice something hurtful or trivial, we strengthen that muscle. And while initially challenging, governing our expression gradually becomes instinctive. We must also practice patience with our fluctuating moods. Each day brings a different emotional weather. Some days we feel serene, others our feelings may surge. The key is consistency, daily laboring toward heightened awareness of our feelings and preventing them from dominating our state. As we integrate Stoicism into our routines, we cannot expect our emotional patterns to transform immediately. We need time to understand our triggers and learn new responses. Patience with this process is vital, as authentic change manifests through daily effort without rushing or expecting instant metamorphosis. Financial discipline mirrors other life arenas. Managing our resources demonstrates command over desires and feelings. Stoicism teaches us not to be ruled by ephemeral pleasures, but to recognize that moderation and self-command yield authentic fulfillment. Financial freedom isn't achieved through rash decisions, but through the small daily choices that advance us toward our targets. Each decision to save rather than spend asserts our governance over our choices. Skill in financial management develops across time via persistence and patience. Regardless of the domain we seek to command, thoughts, words, emotions, or resources, steady, patient exertion is required. It's not about giant leaps, but small, persistent steps forward, maintaining focus and not capitulating when results seem delayed. Ultimately, what matters most is consistent growth, the kind constructed daily through minor efforts. We will be grateful we embarked on this path if we patiently await its yield. Adopt a grateful posture. The Stoics recognized gratitude as one of the most transformative daily disciplines. Practicing thankfulness not only fosters a positive outlook, but can also reconfigure negative thinking loops, vastly benefiting our overall wellness. During hardships, when it appears everything is arrayed against us, gratitude helps us recall the good we still retain, redirecting our attention to what's foundational. Often we dwell on what we lack, what we haven't achieved, or the problems we confront. This scarcity mentality can perpetuate unhappiness, blinding us to the blessings already present. Stoic sages like Seneca and Epictetus taught that life's value is determined not by what befalls us, but by our stance toward it. Gratitude helps shift our focus from scarcity to abundance. Instead of lamenting what we don't have, we can appreciate the small graces that enrich our lives. Even in difficulty, finding and valuing what we possess can be powerfully transformative. Practicing gratitude helps us savor life's modest joys, a beam of sunlight, a loved one's smile, a moment of peaceful solitude, or an opportunity for growth. While the Stoics practiced memento mori, remembering mortality, they did so not for gloom, but to appreciate time's preciousness and the importance of cherishing our present gifts. Gratitude gains even greater poignancy when we acknowledge life's brevity, reminding us to treasure each moment and be thankful for what we hold and the opportunities still ahead. One of the finest ways to embed thankfulness into daily life is maintaining a gratitude log. This practice needn't be lengthy or complex. Each evening, simply jot down 3 things you're grateful for. They can be of any scale. The key is reflecting on the day's affirmative aspects, Writing these 3 items not only helps us recognize the good in our lives, but also trains our neural circuitry to seek the positive rather than the negative. This simple yet potent exercise helps us refocus on what truly counts, permitting us to rest with a tranquil mind. Cultivating a gratitude practice develops a positive mindset. As we start appreciating daily blessings, our life perspective shifts. We cease fixating on lack and begin seeing our existing assets and positive traits. This mentality not only boosts happiness but also builds resilience. When we recognize there's always a sliver of good amidst challenges, we can approach problems with a more constructive attitude. Gratitude grounds us emotionally, reminding us that even in trying times there is cause to smile and persevere. Gratitude also benefits our physical and mental health. Research indicates thankfulness reduces stress, improves sleep quality, and elevates overall happiness. Focusing on the positive makes us less prone to ruminate on the negative, helping us remain anchored in the present. Additionally, gratitude fortifies relationships, showing others we value their contributions, fostering a supportive environment. Ultimately, intentional gratitude is among the most meaningful ways to cultivate emotional control, deep reflection, and inner peace. It is not an empty ritual, but a practice brimming with potential, helping us step back from instinctive reactions and concentrate on what genuinely matters. Embracing gratitude makes us more reflective, balanced, and tough, enabling us to face any challenge with calm and lucidity. Let's press further. Does it feel like your life is drifting from your grasp? Are you weary of missed chances and living without a defined trajectory? Now is the instant to halt, to consider what holds true weight, and to look inward. Stoicism summons us to take ownership of our actions, to cease living according to others' scripts, and to concentrate on personal evolution. Stop dissipating time on trivialities and start forging a genuine existence, rich with growth and meaning. In this guide, you'll learn how the Stoic operating system can transfigure your life and restore command over your future. Before we advance, I invite you to issue a declaration. Comment below. Today, I begin my sovereign path. By making this public pledge, you commit to your transformation and journey toward a more disciplined, purposeful life. Let's commence. Focus inward to eliminate distraction. This is the master key to assuming life command and slashing external diversions. Stoicism proposes that your reality is composed of what you pay attention to. If you let your mind perpetually wander to matters beyond your sphere of control, you become a serf to circumstance and others' viewpoints. However, if you elect to concentrate on self-development, you can reclaim your awareness and self-mastery. This focus helps excise the unimportant and aligns you with your purpose, your values, and the route to a good life. The inaugural step is reserving time for self-care. Amidst life's din, it's vital to carve out slices for reflection and mental nourishment. Begin with straightforward practices like journaling, meditation, or reading materials that spur improvement. This was evident to Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, who dedicated morning intervals to journaling, contemplating his principles and girding himself to meet the day's trials with calm wisdom. This custom not only amplifies wisdom, but also reinforces what is essential. Another facet of personal growth is pinpointing specific zones for enhancement. This calls for honesty, humility to admit imperfections, and a strong desire to advance. You might require more discipline, improved relational dynamics, or better emotional management. The crucial component is consistency, irrespective of the area chosen. Recall, significant change doesn't happen instantaneously. Concentrate on daily small steps that bring you closer to your targets. Each minor progression, however seemingly negligible, is a triumph over prior impediments. When you focus on yourself, something remarkable occurs. You stop being swayed by others' influences. You become less concerned with criticism, judgment, or external expectations because you are now centered on what you can control. You no longer require others' sanction. Your decisions are based on your conviction of what is right. This clarity simplifies problem solving and enables you to act wisely in any scenario. Focusing on personal growth also forges extraordinary resilience. You morph into someone who remains composed and resolute during adversity. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable now appear as invitations for learning and expansion. This perspective shift is a cornerstone of Stoic practice. The voyage won't always be easy, but you choose how to handle obstacles. Concentrating on self-improvement builds a robust foundation, allowing you to stand firm even amidst external pandemonium. Finally, this process transforms not only your relationship with yourself, but also your interactions with others. Prioritizing your evolution makes you a superior friend, partner, and leader. You cultivate an inner fortitude independent of external variables, inspiring those around you to do likewise. Living by your principles, free from distraction, and serving as a beacon for those seeking truth in a chaotic world epitomizes the Stoic existence. Self-care is not selfish. It is the sole method to better the world. You can only make a genuine, valuable contribution if you command your mind and your life. Reducing distractions and focusing on what matters most empowers you to construct a life rooted in reason, one that is not only stronger but also more fulfilling and rewarding. Inward focus is prerequisite, not selfishness. We inhabit a world saturated with distractions, social feeds, others' opinions, constantly vying for our bandwidth. Right now, focusing on yourself is not merely important, it's essential. It's common for individuals to compare themselves and appraise their worth by external benchmarks. Stoicism, however, suggests this mode of living only pulls us from our core and purpose. We must look inward for navigation and life meaning. There we locate the implements to manage any test and discover authentic peace. The problem resides in seeking external validation. When others' perceptions sculpt our identity and self-worth, we lose control of our lives, becoming enslaved to standards we can never fully satisfy. Comparing ourselves to others also impedes success. There will perpetually be someone appearing cleverer, happier, or more accomplished. But this perception is frequently illusory. Comparing squanders time and energy better invested in self-refinement. This endless approval-seeking drains us and blocks advancement. Stoicism encourages looking inward for solutions. Epictetus stated, "We should not fret over things beyond our control." Our sole task is improving our thoughts, actions, and character, areas we can influence. A crucial part of this process is acknowledging everyone possesses unique gifts and goals. Comparing yourself to others is unproductive because they face distinct challenges, wield different skills, and operate in disparate contexts. Focusing on personal growth means recognizing your strengths and addressing your weaknesses, understanding you are crafting something authentic and significant. When you focus on yourself, something amazing unfolds. You tap your full potential. You redirect time and energy previously wasted on external pursuits toward your own development. You start leveraging aptitudes you didn't know you possessed, advancing on your path. This transformation isn't immediate but becomes evident over seasons. By prioritizing your growth, you can locate genuine happiness, a fulfillment not contingent on material trappings or others' applause. The Stoics asserted that true happiness springs from living in harmony with your values and undertaking value-aligned actions. This approach enhances not only your self-relationship, but also your connection with the wider world. As you become more aware and balanced, you positively impact others. People are galvanized by your conduct, not your declarations. Your relationships mirror your inner peace, and your achievements demonstrate authentic dedication to self. Ceasing comparison also liberates you from the constant need to outdo others. You start applauding others' progress without feeling diminished. Those who focus on themselves, not from selfishness but from self-knowledge, import order into a chaotic world. Focusing on yourself is not selfish, it's a prerequisite for a complete life. When you stop seeking external approval and concentrate on your own evolution, you become the true architect of your destiny. No matter how clamorous the external world, you can always locate calm and direction within. That is the potency of Stoicism, living by tenets rather than opinions. Prioritizing your growth will not only bring you contentment, but also allow you to contribute to the world in a genuine, meaningful manner. Cease measuring against others' highlight reels. Social platforms have altered how we perceive others' lives. Through a screen, we witness only the highlights, the most radiant smiles, the grandest accomplishments, the most joyous holidays. This curated, edited version of reality, however, is a meticulously crafted illusion. We all grapple with problems, setbacks, and doubts, but these remain off camera. Once we start measuring our authentic life against this perfected facsimile, we feel lagging and inadequate. Stoicism informs us this comparison is not only inaccurate, but also futile, as it diverts our attention from what is vital, our own development. When we measure our lives against others' highlight reels, we foster insecurity and a chronic sense of falling short. It will perpetually seem others are further along, superior, or more successful. But this view rests on a false premise. We see only what individuals elect to display, ignorant of their internal battles or sacrifices. Dwelling on these comparisons disconnects us from our true nature and our personal aims and values. We surrender our power to external metrics, leaving us vulnerable to doubt and discontent. The first move toward a remedy is adjusting our lens. Stoicism encourages recognizing that everyone contends with unseen difficulties. Even seemingly flawless lives involve trials. They are simply part of the human condition. Accepting this, we stop idolizing others and start seeing them as peers with strengths and flaws akin to our own. Additionally, it's critical to establish our own benchmarks based on our genuine values. We should not gauge success by others' yardsticks, but create our own plans and labor toward them. This provides bearing and direction, pulling our attention away from external diversions. When we stop comparing ourselves to others, we experience a profound liberation. We regain control of our lives by shedding the weight of societal standards. We can now focus on our own advancement, however grand or modest, because it aligns with our goals, not someone else's. Each forward stride brings satisfaction because it is authentically ours. Eliminating social pressure also renders us more resilient to external critique and judgment. We depend less on others' endorsement because we know what matters most is our own perception of our growth and integrity. Comparison pilfers peace by disconnecting us from the present moment, preventing us from enjoying who we are and what we are creating by incessantly showcasing what others have or do. As we labor on our goals and personal evolution, we begin living a more authentic, fulfilling existence. Stoicism teaches we cannot alter what others do or attain, but we can choose our retort. Instead of feeling envy or inadequacy, we can elect inspiration or simply disregard what doesn't aid our betterment. Shifting our attention transforms our relationship with ourselves and the world. We stop competing and start collaborating. Focusing on our own growth, we recognize we are not in a race. Each of us is on a singular journey. With this understanding, we can appreciate others' successes without diminishing our own. Living this way lightens our load, allowing us to move forward with heightened confidence and ease. We cannot genuinely appraise our success by observing others. We can only know it by being true to ourselves and advancing toward our own objectives. Release what no longer fits. Throughout life, we amass relationships, routines, and ambitions that once served a clear function but no longer do. At the time, they may have been crucial for growth, navigating problems, or finding direction. However, a point arrives when they no longer suit the person you are becoming. The Stoics instruct that clinging to unhelpful elements is not only pointless but also obstructs our progress. Attachment to things we should relinquish makes us haul extra weight that hinders forward motion. The trouble begins with reluctance to let go, whether from fear, nostalgia, or viewing release as failure. Many clutch relationships, habits, or goals no longer beneficial or aligned with our values. This attachment keeps us stuck in a loop, continually investing time and effort into something unproductive. Consequently, we miss novel opportunities and experiences that could transform our trajectory. One major snag is fear of the new, but the Stoics advise not to dread the unchangeable, but to consider our reply to it. The solution is practicing mindful disengagement. This doesn't mean ditching everything instantly, but honestly evaluating what people, habits, or possessions still hold authentic value. Epictetus said we should learn to release, not with resentment, but with appreciation for the lessons those experiences furnished. By relinquishing what is no longer useful, we create a vacuum for the new, like clearing a field. Removing dead growth allows new seeds to sprout healthily. Trusting the process is important. Change can be disquieting, but it also brings a bounty of fresh possibilities. When we finally release what no longer serves us, we undergo a significant metamorphosis. We feel lighter, more energetic, and gain clarity to concentrate on what counts. Letting go unlocks doors to new learning, connections, and situations congruent with our current self. Detachment not only frees us from the unimportant, but also makes us more adaptable and resilient for life's voyage. We learn to accept perpetual flux, and that openness to it fosters growth in previously unimaginable ways. Stoicism teaches that life is perpetual motion. Nothing endures forever, and resisting this truth only generates suffering. When we accept some things must be left behind, we acknowledge life's natural current. This is not loss, but gain. We obtain freedom, clarity, and the chance to rediscover ourselves. Detachment helps us advance and teaches us to value the present more, without being anchored in the past or overly fixated on the future. Letting go of what no longer serves demands courage and wisdom. We must trust that by releasing, we do not become empty but prepare to receive what we genuinely need. Detachment does not imply indifference. It means comprehending life moves in cycles, and every conclusion is also a genesis. This mindset helps us move forward more nimbly and live a more authentic life aligned with who we are. Do not fear change. Welcome it as an opportunity to renew and expand. The destination is a mirage. Many anticipate reaching their goals as a reward for diligence and commitment. However, a quiet peril exists when you feel you have arrived and grow complacent in your attainment. Stoicism tells us life is not about reaching a terminus, but about continual progression, refinement, and embracing new tests. If you let an accomplishment become your finish line, stagnation commences. What was a moment of triumph can become the onset of decline if you cease pursuing improvement. The problem with having arrived is how that mindset caps your potential. You grow comfortable, permitting routine and indolence to supplant the diligence and discipline that brought you success. Worse, complacency leaves you exposed to change. as the world won't pause even if you do. The Stoics remind us life is a current. If you are not moving forward, you are effectively drifting backward. When you believe there is nothing left to undertake, you may make poor choices, lose drive, and become dissatisfied with past laurels. The solution is to perpetually progress and seek fresh challenges. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote of the boundless nature of human development. Every goal achieved should not be the mountain's crown, but another cairn on the trail. This doesn't mean living in discontent, but recognizing there is always more to learn, give, and erect. The key is setting new aims aligned with your beliefs and values. These needn't be colossal. Daily minor trials can sustain momentum and foster growth. Seeking new challenges not only prevents stagnation, but also injects vitality into your days. You grasp it is not the goal, but the expansion occurring while pursuing it that holds worth. This endless cycle of growth sustains motivation and prepares you for life's inevitable adversities. With each new challenge, you grow as an individual, learn more about your capacities, and push past perceived limits. In this manner, true success ceases to be a fixed coordinate and becomes a state of perpetual becoming. Stoicism teaches that success is defined not by a moment of acclaim, but by the capacity to persist and adapt across time. When you accept that arriving is not the journey's end, you discard the notion that success is a one-time event. Every accomplishment becomes part of a larger, never-ending expedition because there is always more to uncover. With this mindset, you can relish each life phase, not as a conclusion, but as a genesis of something novel. Genuine success isn't about reaching a specific point, but about constant betterment. This perpetual process is where you locate meaning and joy. The Stoics believed life is an arena to become better beings. With each challenge met and lesson integrated, you move closer to a complete, worthwhile life, irrespective of how many targets you hit. Understanding this, you can embrace change, face uncertainty with bravery, and always be progressing, regardless of your journey's current mile marker. Purpose as your compass. Purpose supplies life with bearing and significance. It is what propels you from bed each morning and helps you decipher your actions and their reasons. When you live with a mission, everything you undertake, however minor, carries amplified weight. Conversely, those lacking clear purpose are more easily sidetracked by external static, others' demands, or a constant hunger for acceptance. According to Stoicism, living without a defined aim is like setting sail without a rudder. You let prevailing winds carry you rather than steering toward your chosen port. Distractions easily ensnare you without purpose. You may fixate on others' activities, contrast achievements, and question if you are doing enough. It's easy to feel adrift, as if your exertions lack import. Moreover, relying on external approval for meaning chains you to something uncontrollable, breeding frustration and angst. You act based on others' expectations rather than from your core, tugging you further from your authentic potential. The first step toward a resolution is earnest self-examination. Scrutinize your aptitudes, interests, and drives. The Stoics held that everyone has a singular role and offering. It's not about unearthing a perfect or grandiose purpose, but ensuring your behaviors resonate with your values. Ask yourself, what activities bring me alive? How can I add value to others? Answers to these queries help unearth a mission benefiting both you and the wider world. With that perspective, your days transmute from scattered tasks into strides towards something larger. Being purpose-driven doesn't guarantee an easy ride or total comprehension. Some days you will question, feel uncertain, or confront unexpected hurdles. But with a clear purpose, these problems become segments of the journey rather than insurmountable walls. Each test is a chance to demonstrate allegiance to yourself and what you are constructing. Additionally, external distractions lose potency when your purpose aligns with your ideals. You care less about others' actions or opinions because you know you are laboring on what is important to you. Living with purpose imbues your existence with immense worth. You don't require others' accord because progressing on your path provides intrinsic gratification. Your accomplishments are judged not by others' criteria, but by how they transform your life and the lives of those you touch. You also locate a steady wellspring of inspiration independent of external circumstances. This approach not only strengthens you, but also renders you more authentic. Instead of chasing unimportant trophies, you focus on what truly holds weight, building a life faithful to your bedrock values. Purpose provides stability amid life's storms, offering the strength to navigate both fair and foul weather with calm and drive. Stoicism teaches we cannot change what occurs to us, but can choose our response. Electing to live purposefully daily demands courage, but keeps you zeroed in on what counts, irrespective of encountered problems or distractions. Ultimately, it's not about arriving somewhere, but living each day with intent, knowing you are fulfilling your part in the grand tapestry. Treat time as your most finite asset. Time is our most precious commodity, yet we fritter it away most casually. Every elapsed second is irrevocable. You can recover a lost coin, but not misspent time. Stoicism states we should esteem time as an invaluable resource demanding our full focus and reverence. Yet we often sacrifice it to distractions, delay, or unimportant obligations. Life is bounded, and every moment expended without intention is a squandered gift. One of the worst transgressions we commit is wasting time, often unconsciously. Petty diversions divert us, others' urgencies override our aims, or we choose what seems facile over what truly matters due to reluctance. Stoicism tutors effective time stewardship and attention to significance. The issue isn't lacking time, as Seneca noted, but wasting vast stretches of it. When we let circumstances pilot our days, we lose sight of our goals and miss living congruent with our values. To genuinely value your time, learn to triage. Not all pressing tasks are important, and we should not expend hours on seemingly urgent but trivial matters. Prioritize undertakings with substantial impact on long-term objectives over those offering immediate, fleeting gratification. This demands self-command, as focusing on what seems simpler or more enticing in the moment is tempting, but without lucidity on what is paramount, time slips through your fingers on trifles, and at day's end, you realize you've accomplished nothing of substance. Another key way to value time is present moment immersion. People dwell in the present, but often with minds moored in the past or future. Living this way, we miss each moment's richness. Mindfulness meant the Stoics paid full attention to their current activity, unconcerned with the unalterable. As Marcus Aurelius inscribed in Meditations, we should live each day as if it were our last, for one day it will be. This mindset helps us concentrate on what counts and uncover greater joy in daily modest actions. To value time, you must also master the art of refusal. We should decline obligations misaligned with our goals, relationships that don't elevate us, and habits not supporting our well-being. Saying no is an act of self-respect and regard for the time you possess. Acknowledging every minute is precious and should not be wasted on senseless pursuits allows us to guard our time and amplify our capacity to focus on the essential. We should not be anxious about time's scarcity. Instead, let it fuel our determination. Each day presents a chance to advance toward our aims, grow personally, and impact the world. Adopting this mindset revolutionizes our relationship with time, teaching us to use it wisely and potently. This doesn't imply constant busyness, but deliberate action, ensuring our activities resonate with our values and aspirations. Stoicism teaches life is brief, but we can render it meaningful by living purposefully. Realizing time's preciousness, we cease wasting it on the inconsequential and start investing it in what matters. Ultimately, lifespan length is less critical than how we employ each tick of the clock. To maximize your time and live a full, worthwhile life, you must prioritize, be present, and act with deliberate intent. Forge habits that build your future. Habits are the foundational units of all authentic life change. Stoicism asserts our character is forged not by one-off grand events, but by small, daily deeds, whether virtuous or vicious. The habits you cultivate are like bricks erecting your life's edifice. If your habits align with your goals, today is a stride toward the existence you wish to inhabit. If they don't, you drift from your aims, perhaps unknowingly. The key is discerning how your habits architect your future and assuming responsibility for their creation. Before constructing supportive habits, you require clear goals and a vision of your desired destination. This helps pinpoint specific actions that enhance your process. Without a clear target, it's easy to become lost in daily rote, engaging in activities that don't advance you. Once you know what you want to realize, determine the necessary habits to get there. If enhancing health is your aim, pivotal habits might include nutritious eating, consistent movement, and adequate restoration. If climbing your career ladder, you may need to learn or hone new competencies daily. The next move is taking micro actions. The Stoics favored incremental progress. Seneca declared great things are not achieved suddenly, but over duration through small, steadfast efforts. Attempting to overhaul too much at once can be overwhelming and lead to abandonment. Instead, focus on consistently executing one or two simple actions. If you desire to read more, commence with 5 pages daily. If meditating, start with 2 minutes. These steps are attainable and build confidence for subsequent ones. Tracking headway is an excellent method to solidify positive habits. Recording your advancement lets you witness how far you've come and stay inspired. Use an app, a calendar, or a simple notebook to mark each day you perform your habit. This log not only reinforces commitment, but also furnishes a sense of accomplishment, even on tough days. Additionally, sustaining commitment is aided by celebrating every minor win, regardless of scale. Recognizing you've taken another step, however tiny, fuels continued exertion. Building habits congruent with your goals is beneficial because they instigate deep, lasting change. Consistent habits not only help achieve goals, but also reshape your identity. Each time you execute a positive habit, you reinforce the self-concept that you are someone committed to growth. If you exercise regularly, you come to see yourself as vitality conscious. If you practice a skill daily, you identify as disciplined. True, enduring change springs from internal transformation. It's not merely about reaching goals, but becoming the person who makes them attainable. Stoicism urges focusing on what we can control. Our habits reside entirely within our domain. While we cannot prophesy the future or alter external events, we can choose our daily actions. By cultivating habits aligned with our aims, we ensure our behaviors are driven by our values and objectives, not by happenstance or convenience. This approach not only aids goal attainment, but also furnishes a stronger sense of purpose and fulfillment. Building habits is akin to investing in your future. It demands initial discipline, but ultimately yields freedom. When you consistently do the right thing, decision-making becomes less frequent as actions become automatic. This process consumes time, but with patience and persistence, you will arrive. The habits you elect to form will dictate who you become and what you achieve. The question is whether your habits serve or sabotage you. You hold the answer, and now is the moment to begin. Engineer your own fortune. In 5 years, you will occupy a vastly different space than you do today. The question is whether that locale results from deliberate choices or from drift and inattention. Stoicism holds that we architect our future through daily decisions. Your life will proceed in a direction regardless. If you don't design it, circumstances, others' demands, or unchecked impulses will determine your fate. Moreover, letting life happen likely leads somewhere undesired. Consider your current trajectory and project forward. Where are your present habits, choices, and goals genuinely guiding you? Why do you do what you do now? Where will you be in 5 years? Often people are oblivious they are heading an undesired direction because they haven't paused to audit their course. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius advised perpetual self-scrutiny to ensure we live aligned with our principles, not merely reacting to our surroundings. One major menace to a worthwhile destiny is negligence. When you neglect duties, procrastinate on vital tasks, or choose ease over exertion, you let your life gradually decay. This decline also diminishes self-regard. Knowing you aren't doing your best wounds internally, eroding motivation and interest. According to Stoicism, the escape from this spiral is discipline, even when you lack desire or the path seems arduous. Focused action is the antithesis of negligence and the first stride toward creating a conscious future. This means assuming charge of your life, recognizing you cannot change everything immediately, but can commence changing things today. You don't require massive leaps, only persistent motion. The most significant transformations result from small daily actions accumulating over seasons. Stoicism furnishes no valid excuses for not starting. The future will arrive whether you prepare or not, and today's choices will decree whether you look back with pride or remorse. If you keep telling yourself you lack time, are unready, or it's too late, you surrender your power to fear and inertia. You become the creator of your fortune when you take charge. Deciding where you wish to go and beginning to labor toward it places you in the director's chair. Engineering your fortune doesn't mean controlling every life event. Unforeseen external factors will always exist. However, Stoicism teaches that our retort matters more than what occurs. By working on yourself, forming supportive habits, and taking value-aligned actions, you build resilience to handle any challenge. You construct a sturdy foundation enabling you to persevere irrespective of circumstances. What you do today sculpts who you will be in 5 years. Are you prepared to take charge and engineer a life reflecting your values, dreams, and capacities? Or will you let drift and negligence lead you somewhere undesired? You possess the power to decide, and now is the moment to act. Ultimately, nothing surpasses knowing the path you tread was built with blueprint and purpose, the imperative of an evolutionary mindset. An evolutionary mindset enables advancement in every life domain. Stoicism emphasizes that what truly counts is your response to events. With an evolutionary mindset, you view successes and failures not as endpoints, but as learning portals and stepping stones. Even the most grueling experiences can become catalysts for personal development when approached with this lens. You don't evade problems but confront them, knowing they will spur growth. Life will always present challenges, major victories or painful losses. How you leverage them defines your unique path. After significant success, it's easy to become complacent, believing less effort is requisite. Stoicism, however, reminds us accomplishments are not destinations, but milestones on a long pilgrimage. If you cease growing, your success will begin to crumble, because nothing in life remains static. Similarly, failure is not a terminus, but a chance to reevaluate, learn, and adjust your bearing. With the right mindset, each setback can mark the commencement of a new ascent. An evolutionary mindset prevents you from becoming lodged in the past, whether reveling in bygone successes or lamenting past mistakes. Remaining present is crucial for growth. Each day offers an opportunity to improve, learn something novel, and advance toward your goals. Dwelling on past achievements causes you to miss current potentials. Marcus Aurelius counseled living each day as if it were both your first and your last, with manifold possibilities ahead. This mindset keeps you humble during success and resilient during difficulty. It's important to recognize that if your personal evolution doesn't keep pace, your earnings, responsibilities, and goals will begin to slip. The mindset and methods that brought you here will not sustain or advance you. You must evolve because the world constantly transforms. This doesn't mean striving for rapid, impossible progress, but committing to steady, enduring growth. There is always something new to learn, room to polish existing skills, and ways to challenge yourself. This approach not only maintains momentum, but also prepares you to attain new altitudes. Stoicism encourages viewing change as an internal process rather than an external pursuit. It's about growing wiser, more focused, and more virtuous, not about amassing wealth, power, or fame. Concentrating on internal growth places external success as a byproduct, not the primary aim, providing stability and purpose even when external circumstances are unfavorable. With an evolutionary mindset, you are not defined by success or failure, but by your capacity to learn and adapt at every life juncture. Cultivating an evolutionary mindset demands self-awareness and practice. Maintaining a constructive outlook during setbacks or admitting there's always room for betterment isn't easy, but doing so breaks self-imposed ceilings and reveals potential you deemed impossible. Every small step forward builds self-trust and encourages continued effort. It's an ongoing process, transfiguring not only your achievements, but also your life perspective over time. An evolutionary mindset is the master key to living a full, vibrant existence. It allows you to see change as an opportunity rather than a threat. With this perspective, you understand genuine success isn't about reaching a specific coordinate, but about becoming someone continually evolving, learning, and transcending prior versions of themselves. Define clear, actionable objectives. One of the most consequential actions to steer your life is establishing clear, attainable goals. Clear goals furnish focus and channel your energy toward what truly holds weight. According to Stoicism, we should not dissipate time or effort on the trivial. With clear goals, every action possesses a rationale, propelling you forward. A clear goal is not only a destination, but also a compass, keeping you on course amidst life's squalls and distractions. Vague goals permit forward movement, but without assurance, you're heading the correct direction, like navigating a vessel without a chart. This breeds frustration as progress seems sluggish or non-existent. Without clarity, you can easily veer off path, wasting time on activities not contributing to your aims. To locate an answer, fracture your goals into small, manageable increments. The Stoics knew the importance of planning and progressing stepwise. Seneca declared, "Nothing significant is accomplished swiftly. All growth results from repeated effort across time." If your goal is to author a book, don't fixate on the entire manuscript. Contemplate writing one page daily. If enhancing health, commence by walking 10 minutes daily or omitting one unhealthy snack. These steps are not only comprehensible, but also build momentum, crucial for sustained drive. Dividing goals into minor steps renders each completion a victory, boosting confidence and resolve. Making small daily advances is far more potent than attempting Herculean leaps at once. Each small action reinforces discipline and brings you closer to your ultimate objective. This approach also helps you remain present, which Stoicism deems essential. The Stoics taught focusing on what we can do today, for that is where our power resides. Instead of agonizing over how distant your end goal is, simply take the next stride and trust the process. Setting clear goals and shattering them into actionable steps provides life bearing and meaning. Each day you know precisely what to do to advance, preventing feelings of being lost or stagnant. Clear goals eliminate excuses for procrastination. This method also fosters continuous growth, generating an internal engine that sustains you, even on arduous days. Observing your daily efforts bring you nearer to your goal is profoundly rewarding. Setting clear goals is more than an organizational tactic. It's a profound personal evolution strategy. When you define what you want and devise a plan to achieve it, you are intentionally drafting your life's blueprint. It's less about the goal's magnitude and more about ensuring your goals mirror your values and the person you aspire to become. With this understanding, you can move forward assuredly, knowing each step has deliberate intent. Stoicism teaches that growth is measured not by velocity, but by consistency. Moving slowly is not a defect if you are moving in the correct direction. By setting clear goals and laboring toward them with care and discipline, you chart a course for a future rich with growth and fulfillment. This approach not only helps you achieve targets, but also transmutes daily life into a meaningful expedition. The 4 pillars of a significant life. A significant life results not from luck, but from daily choices and diligent exertion. Stoicism says to live fully, we must erect an active relationship with the world and ourselves, founded on 4 core pillars: scrutinize, strive, sustain, and shepherd. Consciously adhering to these ideals allows us to navigate life's undulations with purpose and peace. Each represents a concrete deed that transfigures our life experience. First, to live meaningfully, you must scrutinize. Every experience, favorable or adverse, contains lessons for expansion. The Stoics staunchly believed in knowledge's power, not merely academic, but also knowledge gleaned from reflection and observation. Seneca advised we should learn from others' missteps as well as our own. If willing to listen and ponder, you can glean much from existence. Scrutinizing involves more than amassing facts. It means deeply digesting them and applying gleaned insights to make superior choices and actions. Next is strive. Knowledge is inert without application. Those who progress in life are valiant enough to act even when failure looms. Stoicism urges us not to let fear of failure paralyze us. According to Marcus Aurelius, we should act based on what we can control. The outcome is of secondary import. To strive, you must confront fears and take the inaugural step toward your goals. Comprehending failure is a natural segment of the learning curve. Every attempt demonstrates courage and readiness to move forward despite uncertainty. The third is sustain, the capacity to persist toward your goals even when difficulties mount. Problems and challenges are inevitable, but endurance is what conveys you through. Epictetus instructed we should accept what we cannot change and never relinquish what we can. To sustain is to keep your gaze fixed on your goal, recall why you initiated, and resist the urge to abandon when progress seems glacial. This unwavering dedication transmutes efforts into lasting triumphs. The last concept is shepherd, perhaps the most vital. It means conferring your goals and relationships full attention and acting with integrity. Stoicism teaches we should reflect independently, but also nurture our bonds with others and the world. Shepherding demands attentiveness, presence, and intentional action. This mindful stewardship is what imbues your work with worth, whether for yourself or others. When you shepherd, you act not from obligation or for show, but from recognizing something's value and desiring to protect and cultivate it. These four elements must be equilibrated for a life of meaning. Scrutinize provides direction and understanding. Strive initiates motion. Sustain maintains course. Shepherd ensures your actions have a substantial, enduring impact. These ideals are not one-off actions, but part of a perpetual cycle, fostering growth and connection. The Stoics reminded us life is not merely an inventory of accomplishments, but the caliber of our intentions. Integrating these four pillars into daily life bestows a sense of meaning, transcending external circumstances. We become more resilient in adversity, more dedicated to our goals, and more connected to those around us. Though life will not always be facile, adhering to these principles assures we are constructing something significant. Ultimately, a full life is delineated not by what we acquire, but by what we scrutinize, strive for, sustain, and shepherd along the way. The value of humility and perpetual learning. Humility and perpetual learning are foundational for living a useful life and progressing with purpose. The Stoics recognize that without humility, genuine learning is impossible because pride obstructs openness to new ideas and acknowledgement of flaws. Commencing from a posture of humility is not a disadvantage, but a tremendous opportunity to learn fundamental skills that, over duration, become the bedrock for authentic growth. No matter how minuscule the first step appears, it is a lesson rendering us stronger and better prepared for future larger tasks if accepted humbly. A prideful attitude makes us suppose we know everything, are superior in certain arenas, or need no assistance. This is when we cannot handle situations fittingly. This mindset not only halts growth, but also causes us to forfeit great opportunities. We disregard the teachings small beginnings can impart. Lack of humility also renders us defensive toward criticism, preventing refinement. We see mistakes not as natural learning components, but as threats to our ego, hindering progress. The solution is shifting our vantage point. If we approach every task with the correct mindset, no matter how simple or routine, it can be a learning and growth portal. Marcus Aurelius directed us not to scorn any action, as everything we undertake holds potential for development. While we shouldn't seek perfection, this means pledging to the process, knowing every minor contribution aids. Working with humility acknowledges that even in domains we believe we know well, there is perpetually more to learn. This approach not only enriches our experience, but also permits more genuine connections with others. Valuing perpetual learning involves being receptive to new concepts and accepting we can always ameliorate. The Stoics believed in self-reflection and self-critique, not for self-condemnation, but to pinpoint areas for growth. Valuing constructive feedback and seeking guidance from more seasoned individuals helps us better confront challenges and surmount limitations. With humility, we can utter "I don't know" without fear or shame. Understanding real learning commences when we admit ignorance. Positioning ourselves humbly lays the groundwork for steady, lasting growth. We do not dash toward short-term targets or seek facile fixes, but undertake the daily labor affecting a long-term difference. This mindset also evades the perils of excessive pride and complacency. We comprehend growth is a process, not a destination, and every achievement is merely another stride on an ever-instructive path. Humility is not feebleness, but inner fortitude, knowing we are not flawless but capable of daily betterment. This approach not only benefits us but also galvanizes those around us. Working with humility and a thirst to learn creates an atmosphere encouraging everyone to grow, making people more inclined to share insights and experiences, broadening our perspectives and fortifying relationships. Stoicism teaches we cannot change what befalls us, but can choose our response. Being humble and inquisitive about our surroundings helps us maximize every situation, however arduous or unforeseen. We do not resist change or dread the unknown, but see it as an opportunity to improve and learn. This mindset not only prepares us for life's hardships, but also helps us live with meaning and gratitude. Erecting a worthwhile life demands humility and perpetual learning. Regardless of your stage, you can always learn, grow, and improve. Each humble step brings you closer to your finest self and prepares you to encounter life with wisdom and strength. This mindset transfigures not only your achievements, but also your moment-to-moment experience, transmuting even the smallest challenges into growth portals. Your distinctiveness is potency. Everyone possesses a singular amalgam of talents, experiences, and viewpoints. What renders you distinct is also one of the most valuable offerings you can present to the world. Stoicism counsels living in accord with your nature rather than conforming to a mold or image not reflecting who you are. There exists no one else like you, with identical thoughts, convictions, or experiences. This uniqueness grants you power and enables you to face life with assurance and clarity. Your distinctiveness not only defines you, but also furnishes strength, assisting you in navigating existence with certitude. Trouble commences when we yield to social pressure. Attempting to fit into others' expectations is something we all do to some degree. Society, social networks, and our milieu often pressure us to live a certain way deemed proper. This need to conform can cause us to suppress our authentic feelings, interests, and unique cogitations, disconnecting us from our genuine selves and forfeiting the power emanating from authenticity. Fear of judgment or not meeting external standards may lead us to abandon what makes us special, losing our voice in a cacophony of conformity. Stoicism says the solution is embracing our uniqueness and regarding it as our potency. Instead of attempting to emulate others, we should concentrate on what makes us uniquely valuable as individuals. Self-acceptance is a sign of comprehension, not arrogance. Stoicism teaches we cannot alter others' thoughts or worldly events, but we can choose our retort. Releasing fears and displaying our true selves to the world liberates our own energy and emboldens others to do likewise. Generally, what makes us special is what makes us stand apart. Embracing our differences doesn't mean ceasing to learn and improve. On the contrary, recognizing our uniqueness means understanding each of us brings something to the collective, and that something is located not by blindly following others, but by forging our own trail. If you hold a unique idea or skill few possess, don't conceal it from fear of being different. That difference is your potency. The world requires diverse ideas, methodologies, and solutions, and we can only tender our best contribution by being authentic. To live authentically, we must know who we are and act accordingly. We need not disregard social norms or reject criticism, but must be lucid about what genuinely resonates and what does not. Following a path not your own, even if it appears everyone else is on it, takes you further from your potential. Through Stoic reflection, we can discern what is true for us and gradually calibrate our lives to better reflect our genuine selves. Embracing our uniqueness enables a life of purpose and integrity. Instead of living to gratify others or pursue trends, you bring a singular perspective no one else can. Doing so, you become a beacon for those seeking their own voice. Demonstrating being themselves is not only acceptable, but imperative. You should not be different merely for difference's sake, but know your authentic self is valuable, and expressing it ameliorates the world. Uniqueness as potency permits you to be yourself and grants the power to impact the world and leave an indelible impression. Ultimately, nothing furnishes greater happiness than being true to yourself. Knowing every action and choice contributes to the person you were intended to be. Contribute and reciprocate. Giving and sharing rank among the most potent ways to positively transform the world. The Stoics teach that the route to true richness lies not in accumulating more for yourself, but in assisting others and contributing to their welfare. Sharing, whether time, insight, or resources, not only aids others but also fulfills your own purpose. It's challenging to quantify your impact on the world when you elect to share what you possess. Besides generating a cycle of growth and kindness, it links you to something grander than yourself. Stoicism consistently reminds us that ego and selfish pursuit of power or wealth are not pathways to happiness. Sharing draws us nearer to each other and provides a means to effect a tangible difference in others' lives, rather than merely amassing possessions. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, knew that virtue involved actions benefiting others. Contribution need not always be tangible. It could be time invested mentoring, ideas shared to inspire, or simply listening and supporting those in need. Every act harbors potential to improve conditions. Sharing benefits both the recipient and you. When you instruct or assist others, you enhance your own knowledge and skills. Sharing something valuable, a life lesson, a practical competency, or your time, helps you reaffirm what is truly important, particularly when teaching. You not only aid others but also deepen your own comprehension. Realizing your actions affect the world around you helps clarify your sense of purpose. It's not solely about personal accomplishments, but about what you can do for others. Contribution is also fostered by recognition, but Stoicism does not teach seeking external applause. There exists no greater recompense than the internal satisfaction of knowing you have helped others. When you facilitate others' growth, you gain a deep, abiding sense of fulfillment, independent of others' opinions, emanating from knowing you acted rightly. This species of fulfillment germinates from knowing you have been honest and kind, qualities the Stoics highly prized. One of the finest ways to live this principle is dedicating time to teach, inspire, and assist others. Regardless of your impact's scale, simply offering your time and knowledge renders the world better. Instead of focusing exclusively on your own feats, invest time contributing to others' successes. True success is gauged by what you have given, not what you have gained. This attitude not only helps you live by Stoic virtues of wisdom and integrity, but also enables you to leave a positive legacy extending beyond yourself. Sharing also connects us with others. Our world is interlinked. Everything we undertake can have ripple effects beyond our own lifespan. Helping others enriches our lives as well as theirs. Through sharing, we erect a network of support and unity that can expand, crafting a community prepared to assist and encourage one another. This connection reminds us we are not solitary, that our lives are intended for more than self-interest, and that our happiness is intertwined with others' happiness. Often giving and helping others imbue our lives with amplified significance. It reminds us our purpose is not to be acclaimed for what we possess, but for what we contribute. Whether giving financially, donating time, or sharing ideas, each contribution spawns a ripple effect, benefiting others and fostering your own growth. Sharing and giving become pathways to a fulfilled existence. Ultimately, what truly matters in leaving a mark on the world is not what we owned, but what we gave to others. If this journey into Stoic practice has opened a new door for you, show your support. Hit the like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel, Stoic Mindset Mastery, reach others seeking this wisdom, and subscribe to join a community dedicated to building unshakable inner strength. Until next time, remember, you are the architect of your inner world. Build it with intention.